Today I want to show you how to use Android in general. This video really is going to be basically for beginners, for people who have never really used Android or who are very unfamiliar with it still. And so I'm going to go through some very basic stuff today, so if you know much about Android at all, then you know this video is probably not going to be of much help to you. I'm just going to focus on very basic things to get people going who don't know anything about Android. So there's a few things I want to talk about before we get into some of this other stuff. First thing is I want to talk about some of these phones. I've got a few Android phones here. This is the HTC Air. This is one of the very first Android phones made. There was the G1, there was the original Motorola Droid, and then there was this one, I believe. And there may have been a few others, but this is one of the very first ones. And what I wanted to show you on this is, on Android, typically there are 4 buttons that you have. You have a home button, you have a menu button, and most of the time it doesn't say menu anymore. Most of the time it looks like that. That's a menu button. So these 2 buttons right here will do the same thing in Android. And then there's the back button, and then there's the search button. And so depending on which app you're in, some of these things will do different things. Like menu will do something different depending on what app you have open. When I say app, that's short for application. So if you have Facebook open and you push menu, it's going to open up one type of menu. Say you're in your phone dialer where you can call people and you push menu, you're going to get a different looking menu. And the same thing for the search button. Depending on where you're at on your phone, whatever place you're at, the search button is going to bring up something different. The home typically always going to take you back to your home screen, and back's always going to go to the screen before that. This is on one of the first ones that had this little trackball here. You don't see that very much anymore. But these 4 buttons right here are the ones that you see most of the time on Android. Home, menu, back, and search. And sometimes they take this down to just 3. But usually you see these 4, and they're never just in this order. It's never home, menu, back, search. Sometimes they're all switched around. It just depends on which phone you have. And so that's another thing I want to say about this is if you're really trying to figure out how to use your phone in particular, you need to find something that really focuses on that in general once you kind of learn the basics, because every one of these phones has little quirks to it that are different than other ones. So once you get the very basic general idea of how Android works, then you need to find something that talks specifically about your phone to help you out. But generally you're going to have these 4 buttons. Sometimes these buttons are like these are, where they're actually they're hard buttons, where they're built onto the case basically. There's some that have these buttons on the screen. So if your screen is off, you don't see those buttons. You only see it when the screen comes on. Then you can push those buttons, obviously called on-screen navigation. Okay, so now another very basic thing I want to talk about for Android is that the term Android refers to the operating system. Now, when Verizon first came out with their Androids, they called them droids. And so that was more of a way to designate the actual phone, which to me, I guess it brought recognition to Android, but it also created confusion because Android is the operating system and Verizon's phones were called droids. So to me that was a little bit confusing, but overall, and really the thing that we're concerned about in this video is just talking about Android, the operating system. Now, Android is an operating system just like you have Windows operating systems. Now, on your desktop computer, you may have Windows XP, or you may have Windows 7, or you may have Windows 8. All those are just different versions of Windows operating system. And that's what Android is, but for phones and for tablets as well. but it's the actual operating system. It's what allows you to do anything on your phone. It's what lets you turn your phone on to be able to make calls, to open up Facebook, to open any of that type of stuff. That's what the operating system does. And so I want to talk real quick about Android. Android has lots of different versions. And what Android did very early on is they started referring to their versions as dessert names. The A and B, and this goes in alphabetical order, the A and the B, I believe, never really had a dessert name. They just went by alpha and beta. I believe that's what happened. Then starting at C, then they started calling them by dessert names. So at C it was cupcake, D was donut, E was eclair, F was froyo or frozen yogurt, G was gingerbread, H was honeycomb, I is ice cream sandwich, J is jelly bean, and K is Kit Kat. And that's the latest one that we're at. And so this goes in alphabetical order. And so the next one after Kit Kat, K is going to be L. And I'm making this video early March of 2014. There's not an official name for it yet. Lollipop is one that's been brought up quite a bit. But there's still nobody knows except for engineers at Google. So these three phones or four phones all have Android operating system running on them. But each one of these has a little different flavor. This one is still running Android Eclair. So this is running an old version of Android. And so there's not very many people probably who use this old of a version of Android, but I'm still going to show you a few things in case you do happen to have a phone that's running this old of an Android version. These two are the same phones. This one's mine, this one's my wife's, and I'm running Kit Kat on mine, and she's running Jelly Bean on hers. And then this is my old Galaxy Note, the Galaxy Note 1, and it's running Jelly Bean also. And so the reason I have all four of these is I want to show you kind of how they look different, because each one of these has something different on them. Even these two that are the same phones, I have two different versions on here. This one has Kit Kat and this one has Jelly Bean, like I said. And so I want to kind of show you the differences in some of these. Okay, so first thing is Android originally was a operating system for phones that was developed by a company that was not owned by Google. It was developed by some different people. Google eventually bought Android, the Android operating system, and now Android is Google's phone mobile operating system. So when you're running Android, you're running something that is developed by Google. And so really for you to really take advantage of your Android smartphone, you need to have a Gmail account. I know some of you may have old Hotmail accounts or Yahoo accounts or something like that, but really to use these to their fullest potential, you need to have a Gmail account. And so over here on my computer, I want to show you how to set up a Gmail account if you don't already have that. So if you'll just go to Gmail, and if something else comes up, there'll be a button down here that says Create an Account. And so as you click on Create an Account, it's going to bring this up where you can create a free Google Gmail account. And so you'll just type all this in, your first name. You'll want to choose your username, and there's lots of people who have usernames. So if I were to put Joe Smith, no doubt that's going to be used. See, it says here someone already has that username. So you're going to have to develop a username for your Gmail account that's going to be unique, that's going to be different than what anybody else has. So this is just going to be the typical stuff. You're going to put your first, last name, username, create a password, and then just go through the steps here to set up your Gmail account. So you definitely need that Gmail account to really use your Android phone to its potential. Before I started using Android smartphones, I was using Windows smartphones, on the Windows mobile platform. And before I got into Android phones, I used Hotmail as my primary email account, or as my primary personal email account. And so whenever I was trying to decide whether I wanted to go to Android or not, that was one of the big things, is do I really want to mess with moving everything from Hotmail over to Gmail? And once I figured out I could forward all of my Hotmail email to my Gmail, it made it a lot easier for me to make that transition. And I'm not going to go into how to do that today, but because you may have Hotmail or Yahoo or whatever, so they're all going to have different ways to do that. But from most of your email services, you're going to be able to forward any email that you get into that account over to your Gmail account. And so now, even, I don't know how many years I've been running Android, I still have my Hotmail forward to my Gmail. I'm still getting people who email stuff to my Hotmail that just comes to my Gmail account. And 2 or 3 years later, I'm still doing that. So just know, if you have some old email account that you've used for a long time, you can forward that to your new Gmail. And of course, I'm biased, but I think you'll figure out that you like Gmail quite a bit, especially as you see how it integrates into your phone and how it's just across everything, how it makes it so much easier to start using Google. And of course, I know the old argument about we're letting Google know too much about us. I understand that, and I've thought about that, but that's beyond the purpose of this video for today. Also, at this point right now, Google gives 15 gigabytes of free storage with each Gmail account that you have. So pretty generous at this point. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking at how to use the phones now. So first thing, on my phone, I went ahead and did a reset on it so I can show you kind of how to go through the initial setup here. Like I said, this is a Samsung phone. This phone right here is an HTC phone. This is gonna look different between different phones. There's just gonna be different things, and even if I reset this one and I reset my wife's phone, going through this startup thing is going to look different because of the way I have these two set up. So there's all different ways to set this up, but I'm just going to show you going through here on mine. So you have this welcome screen. Okay, I'm not going to worry about setting up my Wi-Fi right now, and I'll get to that in a little bit. I will show you how to set that up. So this says, got Google, do you have a Google account? So that's going to go back to where you just set up your account over on the computer. So if you've done that, then you're going to want to set up your Google account. If you haven't done that, push no. But I suggest that you just go ahead and do this. I'm going to push no, and I'll show you how you can. Okay. So right now my phone is back to just stock. And my phone also has the newest, where I can say, okay, Google, and it lets me ask a question. Or that's why it did that. But I don't want that right now. So this is one of the most important things on your phone, or it's a very important part of your phone, is the Play Store, because the Play Store is where you can go and download different apps. This is where you're going to go get Facebook if you don't have that as an app. This is where you're going to go and get Angry Birds as a game for you to play or for your kids to play. This is where you're going to get the stuff that you're going to get to download. So if I click on the Play Store here, you have to have an account for this. So this is where it's going to ask you to add your Google account. Again, this is the account that you created over on the computer if you didn't put that in at the beginning. So I'm going to push existing because I've already got one. And let me just type this in real quick. Well, so I'm typing in my username and my password that I put in on the computer to set up my account. And once I get this set up and push OK, it's going to sign in, and then it's going to let me open up the Google account, or open up the Play Store. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so I just added my Play Store. That's something, I added my account so I could get into the Play Store. And like I said, this is important for you to set up your account on the Play Store because that's where you're going to get all your different apps and stuff. Okay, now, if you didn't sign into your email or into your Wi-Fi, your wireless network where you can get onto the internet, I want to show you how to do that now. So you're going to need to get into your settings. And for you to get into your settings, the easiest way to do that is to go into the app drawer. Okay, they call this the app drawer. So on this one, you can see this button right here. When I click on that, it brings up a drawer full of apps. All right, let me show you over here on this old phone how this works. Oops. Okay, so on this one, the app drawer, the button is right there where it lets me open up all of my apps. Okay, on this one, I believe this one has the same type of setup. Yep, this little button. There's going to be a button somewhere down at the bottom of the page that's going to allow you to open your app drawer if you're at your home screen. So if you don't know if it's your home screen, just hit home a few times and that'll get you to your home. And from your home, you can hit this and it takes you into your app drawer. Okay. So back over here to my phone. When I open my app drawer, this is where all of your apps are going to be at. This is the gallery. That's where you go and you can look at your pictures that you've taken. There's the camera app that lets you open your camera. Okay. Here's the phone app. And if you can't find that anywhere else, see, it's not anywhere there. But if you can't find anywhere else, if you'll go into your app drawer, you'll always be able to find your phone app where it lets you open up your dialer. So on this one, same thing. This one has a button right there that says phone, so you can click on that. But again, if you go into here, you'll see right there, there's a phone app. That's where you can open up your phone. So while I'm at it also, if you want to do text messages, usually there's an app called Messages or Messaging. See here it says Messages. If you open that up, it'll let you send a text message. On this one, you can see right here that it says Messaging. That'll let you send text messages. And so, again, this is going to look different depending on the app. So I click on plus and I can type in the telephone number where it says to. I'd type in the telephone number of the person I want to text. And then down here, I would type what I wanted to send to them, and then I would push send, and it would go to them. Okay. Now, I kind of got off track there. So what I'm wanting to show you is once you go into the app drawer, here there will always be an app called Settings. Okay? So that Settings is where you're going to get to some of the important stuff that you need to get to. It's where you can get to your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, data usage, and some different stuff. So once you go into Wi-Fi, this is where you'll be able to put in the password. So this is my home network. I can see the name of my home network here. And in password, I would type in my password, and then I would be able to connect to my wireless network in my house. Okay, so from this, you can turn your Bluetooth on and off. This is how you'd connect to, if you have a Bluetooth in-ear receiver, or if you have in your vehicle you have a Bluetooth player where you can connect and play music. This is where you're going to turn that on and off at. Data usage, this is pretty useful, and I've reset mine, so it's there's not a lot here, but this will show you how much data you've used. And they started putting this data usage in, I believe, in ice cream sandwich. So anything ice cream sandwich or newer ice cream sandwich, Jelly Bean, or Kit Kat is going to have this data usage. So In your settings, this is where you'll be able to change lots of stuff. This is where you can go into sound. And in sound, you can go to phone ringtones. This is where you're going to change your ringtones. This is where you'll change whether touch sound. So if you touch something on the screen, it's going to make a sound or whatever you have. This is where you can change all of your different sounds. Okay, so you have sound, display. This is where you'll be able to change the brightness, turn the automatic on or off, and then you can adjust it if you don't have it on automatic, however bright you want it. This is where you can check your battery, see what's going on with your battery. 81% charging, 31 minutes because it's been that long since I've reset it, but that shows you how long it's been on the battery. There's all kinds of stuff here in settings, but I just wanted to show you a few of those basic things. And most importantly is the Wi-Fi. That's how you can connect to your wireless home network. And you have to be connected to that network before you can open the Play Store, before you can do any of that stuff. Okay. So if you've already set up your account, like I did whenever I clicked on the Play Store, then now it's receiving from my Gmail account. And if I opened up my Gmail, I would be able to see all of my emails that are in my Gmail account. If I were to open my calendar, it'll show me all of my entries for my calendar and show me what's going on in each of... Let me put this on. And so in my Google Calendar, and this is another good reason to really try to change everything over to Google, is I put everything into my Gmail calendar, and so I keep track of everything, and I have friends, relatives, birthdays, appointments that I have for work, all kinds of stuff in my Gmail, in my Google Calendar here. And so the good thing about this is that all of my calendar events are not stored on this phone. They're actually stored in what's called the cloud. They're stored by Google themselves, so I don't ever lose that. If I get a new Android phone and I put my account back on it, then everything that I've saved in my calendar just gets put right back on there. And same thing with people, with my contacts. So sometimes it's called people. Let me see over here on this HTC. I don't remember what they called it. Yeah, they called it people also. Sometimes it's contacts, depending on which phone you have. Let me see here on this one. Yeah, on this one you can see there it says contacts. And so with my contacts, I've got all of them saved to my Google account contacts. And so anytime I get a new Android phone and I type in my Google username and my password, boom, all of that's back on there. All of my email, all of my calendar events, all of my contacts. So I don't have the problem where people, I see them on Facebook all the time saying, oh, my phone died, I lost my contacts, please text me your phone number. That never is going to happen to me because Google has it all stored. And, well, I guess if Google ever loses it, then we're all going to be in trouble anyways. But that's all stored there for me on my Google account, so I don't ever lose any of that kind of stuff. Okay, I want to show you here on this is the original Galaxy Note. It's running Jelly Bean, but I want to show you, this has a different settings page. You can see how it looks different than the one I was just showing you. But you can see at the top, it's basically the same thing. You have your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, data usage. Scrolling through here, you can see there's the battery, sound, display, all that looks very similar. Now over here on my wife's phone, you can see here that she has the settings page that you see on a lot of the newer phones where it has them tabbed across the top here. So you can see here under connections, this is where you have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, data usage, and all these other things, and I'm definitely not going to get into all of that. Under my device, this is where you have display, sound, accounts. This is where she has her Facebook account in there, Google account in there, Blackboard account in there, and then on more, just some different things you can see with battery there. Okay, so hopefully I gave you a few pointers that'll help you to be able to start using your Android phone, and where it'll kind of help you get started. Hope you enjoyed this video, and hope it'll get you rolling on your new phone. Thanks for watching.